Welcome back. Um, so, I did a webinar last night with the TradeUP guys, and I'd mentioned to them really I couldn't make any decision based off yesterday's profile and where I thought the potential of the market to go was. I'd have to wait for this go back session to trade, and now that it's traded, it gives a little bit clearer picture. So I think first and foremost, R2Y has been the market that's moved us the quickest and the furthest, the fastest, right? It got above the 2320 area, failed obviously, and then we had 1, 2, 3, 4 straight days of down days, with yesterday, being more of a recovery day after the Globex sell-off. So the most natural move to come from this sell-off is for R2I to at least come back up and retest the backside of the 50-day moving average, this green line here, and see if they can find a seller who's willing to sell the market below the 50-day or below the 21-day moving average. Now, I am not that seller. I have absolutely no interest in selling below the 21 or below the 50. And therefore, I really have no interest in trading R2Y right now. But I think because R2Y's natural move was, to push lower, have this recovery, it kind of set up for the other markets to kind of follow suit as far as getting a bit of a recovery rally today, and then potentially, get into selling next week. We'll see. But R2I had a very strong recovery move. It's got a ways to go before it gets to any kind of resistance that I'd be willing to, even look at possibly selling into. For right now, if R2Y, let me just make this a little bigger. If R2Y opens and it's able to find support, somewhere in this middle zone here, kind of K's pullback low from the 7th, and that would kind of line up with these single prints from J period and then these single prints from J period from the Globex session, and kind of the area where the market toppled yesterday after putting in that excess. I think that's a potential to get long for that retest of where the 50-day moving average is. Now, the 50 days only up here around 64, 65 area. So they could very well get there here in the Globex session, and that would kind of change things. And then you would kind of be looking at acceptance or rejection from G's pullback on the 7th, which, remember, R2Y put in a couple B profiles back to back, very strong B profiles at that. So it did, in fact, invite new buyers into the market, and we can see if those buyers are going to get serious or not. I don't believe R2Y will be a great trading environment today. I'm perfectly okay just kind of monitoring it. I think more than anything, I think R2Y gave us a clue that this kind of rally was potentially there and could potentially be there in the pit session when that opens, based on the fact that that's the most natural move to the upside for R2Y to take. Now, looking at NQ, NQ is kind of holding its trend line, this upper trend line, which is like the upper trend of the channel that I've kind of been watching for, quite some time now. Again, these are not areas that I just trade off of. It's more just a reference to keep my bias in check. If NQ can get going, NQ needs to take yesterday's high out. I think that's as clear as day, and not just yesterday's high. I'm talking about the Globex session high, which is up in the 830, 840, or sorry, 820, 825 range. If it can get up there, then, you're looking for a potential blow off to continue. And then you start targeting, the 15.2, 15.3, so on and so forth to the upside. But where it is right now, again, I just feel like NQ is not really in a great trading environment or in a great area to be trading that market right now. And I'll probably be quite patient with it if I take any trades on it at all. One thing I do know is it's looked below that area quite a few times, but it's found decent support in that 68 area. Let me just make this a little bigger for you. It's found decent support here in this 68 area, right? Now, the 68 area is just another structural reference that I've been using, an area that was, clear resistance at one point, and then they finally broke it. And you almost always get at least one period that pulls back into that resistance after breaking above it to take it as support. What's the most natural move of a market once you take a resistance area is to blow away from it and then move back into it, right? That's the reclaim. So trade up away from it, trade back into that previous resistance, try and reclaim it as support. I think that could have happened in the last, Globex session and yesterday. And now, try and continue the move higher. So if there is to be any kind of change in my mindset with NQ, they need to flush through this 68 to 82 level. Otherwise, I think you should be on the buy side of the market, and just picking and choosing your spots on where you want to buy, I think will be very, very important. I think similar to yesterday and today, you can use Globex's low as a very good reference point. It's below what I would consider to be real laggard support. As far as this was a breakout area, this 56 to 74 area was a breakout area. An area I would monitor if the market does pull into it for potential rebid to enter in long. But as that's being said, I really have no interest in shorting this market. Not up here, not until, it gets below this level here. Then I think you have an opportunity once this goes to short the retest of what could be resistance then. So again, I think NQ is kind of set up like R2Y, more of a market to observe today, which is fine. You don't have to trade every day. It's very important to know. And it's not always going to set up, perfectly for us. So that's for R2Y and NQ. Now looking at ES, ES, it's a Friday, right? You don't sell off very many Fridays. More often than not, you rally on a Friday. So that has to be in the back of your mind that the potential for a rally is most certainly there. One thing of note is yesterday we did do a ton of business in our later periods. In our FG, H, and I period, there's a ton of business hitting on the DOM, especially in M period. There's significant absorption. So somebody is doing larger business. They're just picking and choosing their levels and not doing it throughout the day. We have a very, very strong rally here after what was a look down in the Globex session, tried to get down to that support 42.90. They rebid prior to it. And what's really nice about this is if you traded Globex, this is a good sell-off. They came into an area where you would expect there to be support. This G pullback was perfect. If you were trading this G pullback, you don't get those very often now. As far as the market naturally traded lower, recovery, traded back down. Not only did this retest the low, it's actually retesting M's low, which, effectively M's low would be your swing low. It'd be the area where potential change could occur based off of the late trade from yesterday. So that was a great opportunity if you're awake to potentially get long. Obviously, I wasn't awake, so I'm not long and flat. But as we're trading up into here now, we're coming into what I would consider to be pretty strong resistance, 29 to 32 area. If that level is to go, 44, 48 area is there. And then, of course, your all-time high. Now, am I looking to short this? Probably not. I would probably think, even if it does pause up here, I think the odds would favor either a trend to the upside or a balanced day. Now, that could easily change with what we've kind of seen in the past few days as far as, leading up to this kind of liquidation move in Globex. You had an open and liquidate V-shaped recovery, open and liquidate V-shaped recovery. So the potential is there for this to open, liquidate, and then V-shaped recovery as well. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm just saying something in the back of my mind that I will, be aware of the potential of that to take place in the market today. The other thing is, yesterday's profile did look incomplete. It looks incomplete to the downside. It definitely looks incomplete to the upside. And the POC, was pretty high up in the profile. Sometimes that will make the profile look almost top heavy in a way. That fairest price was found up here, but so much of the business was done down here. This move in Globex late here, I guess it's still kind of early, 2 hours left, but could potentially just be filling that in, and you could just see, a balanced day between that 30 and maybe, 2300 and 2307. Now, we'll see how it plays out. I love how ES is going to open or potentially open? Not really. I mean, there's a potential for it to gap higher here. Now, do I consider this a gap, or do I pay reference to this gap? No, I don't, because whenever you gap through previous structure, I'm more interested in what's happened in that area prior than I am, the simplicity of what a gap actually represents inside structure. We're really just looking to potentially build out a value balance range right now. That is, simply just value higher, value lower, value higher, value lower. Without a real natural auction to it, meaning there's not multiple days auctioning lower, multiple days auctioning higher, giving you an actual balance range. Rather, it's just, one day tried to go higher, one day tried to go lower, one day tried to go higher, so on and so forth. So we are potentially building that out. We do, of course, know our all-time high is garbage right now. It's not very secure. But that being said, it's almost never secure, especially in this current market. So coming into today, I think patience is going to be very, very important. and just allowing the market to kind of come into your levels and taking the trades as it comes into there. For me, I'm willing to buy ES. I think any retest of this our pullback here would potentially carry on with this upside auction that we've seen here for most of Globex. So ours low somewhere around that 43.20 area would be an area of interest for me to pay attention to. It also kind of lines up with the 7th low, July 7th low in C period, and our high from yesterday. So it's kind of an important little area of confluence. And then, of course, if we are to open up here, the pullback towards 29.31 area would be valuable to potentially get long. As far as shorting goes, if we open in A period and we don't get much, and we get back below here, I think it is possible to short it. I think you just need to make sure your risk is in line. But for me, I'll probably just be patient here, see how we respond to that pullback area, that 43.20 area, and then make my decision from there. So that's where I am. It's Friday. There's no need to get too involved on a Friday if you've had a good week. You just take the trade as it comes, and if it comes, within your strategy and within your plan, execute the trade, live with the results. With that being said, we will see you again next week.